Can Kirk Cousins and the Falcons offense carry them to a win, not only against the Cowboys, but all the way to the playoffs?
You are Locked On Falcons, your daily Atlanta Falcons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everyone, to another illustrious episode of the Locked On Falcons podcast, your daily Atlanta Falcons podcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. So if you do not know me, I'm your very humble host, Aaron Freeman. Been covering the Atlanta Falcons for nearly 2 decades, formerly at FalcFans.com, RIP. Still going strong on this illustrious podcast, and I thank each and every one of you that goes strong with me as everydayers. That means you make this podcast your first watch, your first listen each and every day. And to become an everydayer, all you have to do is subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So today's episode, we are wrapping up the week as we get you guys geared up for this Week 9 matchup between the Falcons and Dallas Cowboys. And of course, we're joined by none other than the very illustrious, the very humble Jarvis Davis of Locked On Sports Atlanta, breaking down not only Atlanta Falcons stuff, I was going to say Braves, but I'm probably not talking too much Braves at this point in time of the season, but Hawks, right? Georgia Bulldogs, so many other things going on with Atlanta sports. Go check out Locked On Hawks, Brad Rowland. He's having a grand old time dealing with the people freaking out about the slow start, I guess, for the Hawks and whatnot. But Jarvis and company are doing that over at Locked On Sports Atlanta, where, of course, you can also find the postcast, Locked On Falcons postcast, immediately following the game. So we'll be talking this weekend about this Dallas Cowboys matchup with myself, Jarvis, Tanitra Batiste as well. So, Jarvis, let's talk about this Cowboys matchup. And, we'll talk about the Falcons defense later in today's episode. We'll get into some trade deadline stuff. We'll talk about some of the things that you'll be watching specifically in this game. But I think most people look at this game. You got a bad Cowboys defense, a very promising Falcons offense that is seemingly, ascending into that team that can be a top 10 offense consistently, right? And so basically, Jarvis, I'm asking, not only do you think can the Falcons offense carry them this weekend, but is this a situation where this offense has the capability to be able to carry this team for the rest of the season? Because, we'll talk about the defense later, but I don't know if this defense is going to be pulling its weight, so to speak, for the rest of the season as the Falcons make their push towards the playoffs.
I think that in order for the Falcons to be serious contenders, we talked about on Atlanta Football Party how they're sitting at the top of the division right now, looking down on everybody, being undefeated in the division. So when you think about it from that aspect, they're in a good spot right now. They are kings of the South at the moment. But in order for them to take it to the next level, this offense and be seriously considered a contender, this offense has to carry this team. That's the only way that's the only light that I see with them making a run in the playoffs. Kirko has to drive this train. Kirko has to say, hey man, no more games like Seattle. Those days are done. That was the blip on the radar. I don't know why it happened. I don't know how it happened, but that cannot happen again if we want to be taken seriously. If we want to put our foots in people, you know what I'm saying? If we want to really kick the crap out of somebody, especially a team this week with a team like the Dallas Cowboys who've lost 2 games in a row. And they just been a dumpster fire just from a news standpoint. Jared Jones out here running his mouth and just saying whatever and regretting not picking up a running back and all that stuff, whatever. With all that going on, the Cowboys are coming into your house. So what are you going to do? Are you going to continue to give us what we've seen and as the potential, like you mentioned, to be a top 10 offense? Or are you going to have another one of those type games where, oh, man, what's going on with this team? They don't look right. Something ain't right. Oh, man, 3 and out on the first drive. What's going on with that? What's the deal with that? So I think that, for in this game, this is the game for this Falcons offense to say, hey, guys, we have arrived. Zach Robinson has found his way. he is one of the better young and up-and-coming offensive coordinators in his first year at calling plays for the Atlanta Falcons. Like people thought he was going to be, because the Falcons weren't the only team that he was talking to when it comes as far as for a job, right? So for Zach, for Kurt, for John, for Tyler, this entire offensive line, Drew Dahlman hopefully can get back into the fold this week as well. When you're talking about getting healthy, having all your weapons ready to roll, this is the game to kind of put your foot on this situation, saying, "Hey, man, I know y'all like the Cowboys and they America's team and all that bull crap, but hey, we just kicked the crap out these dudes, so we here, and y'all need to understand what we're trying to do going forward."
So yes, I agree 100% with you on that one, Jarvis. This game, I think, is a big sort of proving ground for this Falcons offense. We know the capabilities of them. It's about consistency. It's about sustainability. It's about repetition. All those various things that are sort of the key to playing football, where you have to, essentially, for lack of better, you just bang your head into a wall over and over again over 60 plays. Over the
As
course
long
of
as
a
you bang
Sunday.
your head the same way, you good.
So, we'll see if the Falcons offense can live up to those expectations. And again, this week have a very favorable matchup against a struggling Cowboys defense that does not appear that Micah Parsons is coming back. That is potentially down two of their starting cornerbacks, with Trayvon Diggs dealing with an injury, Deron Bland dealing with injury. So this has all the makings of this Falcons offense going off. But that being said, let's dig a little deeper into this specific matchup. And I want to ask you sort of specifically, what are you looking at in this game, whether it's offense, whether it's defense? What are we going to find out about this Falcon team on Sunday? And we'll break into that as we continue today's Locked On Falcons. Basketball season is here, and it's time to get back into the arena, and our friends at Gametime are helping us out, especially with this new feature called Gametime Picks, making getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier. Gametime Picks is going to filter out all the fluff and show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And it's not just basketball, other sports, comedy, music, theater, whatever event is near you, Gametime is taking the guesswork out of buying tickets. If you want to get those tickets to that Usher concert that's coming to State Farm in December, you got it, guys. And the beautiful thing about Gametime is you don't have to worry about hidden fees. You hate it when you're getting deal, and then all of a sudden you slap on these hidden fees at checkout and whatnot. You don't have to worry about that with Gametime, because you can toggle the all-in pricing, which means you get the total cost up front. You don't have to worry about surprise or hidden fees at checkout. That's how Gametime is taking the guesswork out of buying tickets. And all you got to do is download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. And our friends over at 5 Hour Energy know that being a passionate football fan isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life. And it takes a lot of energy to power through all those all-day tailgates and touchdown celebrations, which is why they've created the Stand the Fan 5 Hour Energy Shot with a special flavor called Fan Fuel. The energy shot made just for super fans just like you. We see you. So what also give me that Falcons fan fuel this week? Of course, special teams matter, and Kadero Hodge making that open field tackle on the Bucks fake punt. Hopefully we'll get another big time special teams play this week to keep me energized on Sunday. And 5 Hour Energy knows that whatever team you root for, being a fan requires the heart, the soul, and a whole lot of energy. And that's why the limited edition Stand the Fan 5 Hour Energy Shot is here to help keep you fueled all season long. And what's your fan fuel this week? Whatever it is, do it with 5 Hour Energy, available at 5hourenergy.com, shipped nationwide. So we are continuing today's Locked On Falcons here with Jarvis Davis of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And Jarvis, each week we talk about the upcoming matchup, and I can sort of frame it, what's a key to victory? What are you watching for? And so I want to focus specifically on what are you watching for? Because as someone who played football at a very high level at the, illustrious Albany State University down in South Georgia, that football is a challenge each and every week, right?
Sure.
That even though you can look at a team and say, oh, we should be able to beat this team pretty easily, that every team is going to present different challenges to your team in some form or fashion. And I'm just curious, when you look at this Cowboys team, whether you focus on specific challenges that they're going to bring to the table or things that you just think challenges the Falcons need to prove that they need to overcome, what are some of the things that you will be watching for on Sunday that we may be getting into when we get to that postcast on Locked On Sports Atlanta?
You know what, man? The Dallas Cowboys are last in rushing yards per game. The Dallas Cowboys are last in yards per carry rushing the football. I don't want to see them come in with 39-year-old Ezekiel Elliott and run this football, have success running the football. I do not want to see that. They can't come in here and run the football like that, because coming into the last game, the last matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what did I say? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin gone. Watch out for Cade Otton. Watch out for the run game. You know they're going to do it. And what did they do? That's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. And the Falcons had to score 30 plus to get out of there. Thankfully they scored 30 plus and they got out there with a win. But what can't happen is you give this offense a two-way go, because we know all the problems that Dak get on the heater, man. The man can throw the football, man. You can say all of the, Dakota and all that stuff, and and he's not the real quarterback. And that man is getting paid a lot of doggone money to be really good at football, and that's exactly what he is. And you talking about CeeDee Lamb, who is a dynamic wide receiver. You know how the Falcons deal with dynamic wide receivers. That Seattle game, DK Metcalf been struggling in the offense a little bit. He and Geno Smith haven't been really kind of kicking it like that. What's going on, man? Hey, big head. You got that hey, big head text before the Falcons game, and guess what happened? He did his doggone thing. So for me, they can't let these boys come in here and run the football. They can't let CeeDee Lamb come in here and just go all off, because that's all they got, man. You can't. Somebody else gonna have to beat him. The tight end, the no-name wide receiver that's playing opposite of CeeDee Lamb, those guys gonna have to beat you. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm charging this defense to not let this team, who is awful at running the football and have nobody with any explosiveness running that football right now as their starting running back. And you can't let them come in and just do you any old type of way, regardless of whether or not you can put the quarterback on the ground. I'm talking about the run game. That's that type of stuff you should be able to fix. I ain't talking about rushing the passer. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it, man. That's my big thing that I'm looking for. Like, don't let this Cowboy team, who is the worst team running the football, come in and have success running the football. You can't just let it happen.
I agree again 100% with you, Jarvis. The Falcons have this reputation of being the get right game, right? That's been their MO. It would be nice. It would just be nice for that to stop at some point. And I agree with you on that. With the last thing you want is this team that's struggled mightily running the football to be able to run the football. The last thing you want to see is you've seen Dak Prescott throw a lot of interceptions this year, and you don't want to see him have a clean game, right? And that's, we'll see what the pass rush can do. Good luck. But you talk about CeeDee Lamb. I think you bring up a great point with CeeDee Lamb. Like, when you have a receiver of that caliber, he's going to get his, right? It's a similar conversation that I remember having about Julio Jones, where it was like, a lot of people would look at, Julio's production, and from a fan perspective or a fantasy perspective, oh, Julio had 6 catches for 70 yards or whatever this week. He's very productive. And I always sort of flipped it, where it was like, if you're a defensive coordinator, Julio's going to get his. If you can hold him, there's a certain number of catches, a certain amount of yards, and a certain number of touchdowns that Julio's going to get. And if you can keep him below that number, like, you feel like, hey, that's a win, Sure. And to me,
6 for 70, I'll take that all day.
Yeah. If we can keep Julio out of the end zone, that's great.
Keep him out of the end zone,
yeah. And it's a similar conversation, I think, with CeeDee Lamb, where it's like, he's probably going to get 10 to 15 targets. He's probably going to catch, 7-8 passes or whatever. But if you can keep those to short gains, not the explosive plays, if you can keep him out of the end zone, like, that's, to me, a win for this Falcons defense. And I'm curious, do you feel like the Falcons can get that win this weekend going up against CeeDee with the way the secondary is played. And then the other question I have about that is, if the Falcons do succeed in that, how much concern is there? Like, CeeDee's going to get his, but like the key is kind of, don't let Jake Ferguson go off, right? Don't let, Rico Dowdo have a big game or whatever. Keep those other weapons contained. And do you feel confident that the Falcons can accomplish those goals as well?
I think Raheem Morris said something that was very interesting to me, which helps me feel better about what I'm about to say. I feel like they can. To answer your question, yes, I feel like they can do that. And Raheem said something about making adjustments, playing a little tighter in coverage. You know what that means? A little bit more man, potentially. That's how I feel, because there was one particular instance. I think it was in the last game or the game before last. I can't remember which one it was. Clark Phillips was in coverage. It was 3rd and 6. He was lined up at the first down marker. And then as soon as the ball was snapped, he started backpedaling. I was like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, because, man, one thing that my defense coordinator taught me in college, man, the most important thing as a defensive player, if you playing in the secondary or you're on that second level at linebacker, shoot, even as a defensive lineman, down in distance, man. Down in distance will get you home. You will be able to make it to the promised land if you understand what down in distance means as a defensive player. Because if it's 3rd and 6 and I'm lining up at the sticks and then I'm backpedaling once the ball is snapped, you beat. You're beat. You're beat. So when Raheem Morris said that we're going to start playing a little bit more tighter coverage, to give the defensive lineman a little bit more time to rush, man, that's like music to my ears, dog. Like, hey, man, I'm sure Jimmy Lake is probably telling these cats what that is. But when the head coach is coming there like, hey, man, if it's 3rd and 6, don't line up at 7 and be at 9 by the time the quarterback throws the football. You're killing yourself. You're beating yourself by, in that particular situation. So, yeah, I feel like they can do that as long as they continue to make these necessary adjustments, man, because, we talked about this on the Atlanta Football Party, man. I don't think you're going to go from the worst team rushing the passer, putting quarterback on the ground, to even mid-range, like 15. I don't think that's possible with one person. So what you're going to have to do is take a look in the mirror and say, okay, what can we do with what we have right now? And that's what you can do. You can make those necessary adjustments. You can put Damone Harris in there, give him a little few more snaps early on in the game. I feel like they're making those necessary tweaks. So, but yeah, man, as far as bringing somebody in to come save the day, that ain't happening, Jack. I'm sorry. Like, y'all can, unless it's Myles Garrett, dog. Like, I mean, it ain't happening. It ain't happening.
Yeah. I crunched the numbers the other day because someone was talking about Montez Sweat, and we saw the impact he had on that Chicago Bears defense in terms of that defense was one of the better defenses in the second half of the season with Montez Sweat. But it wasn't because they were getting a ton of sacks with Montez Sweat, right? They were dead last in the NFL in sacks when they traded for Montez Sweat, and they moved to like 31st, right?
Right.
and it wasn't because and so no one's going to sit here and say like Montez wasn't contributing and whatnot. Like he added 6 sacks, he added the other rest of the team, their production went up like 25% or whatever. And if you did that for the Falcons, if you had a similar impact, they would go to 22 sacks. That's what they would finish the season. So I think you're right, Jarvis. This idea that like someone's going to come in and save this pass rush probably not to be the case. And so that's why, I think, when we talk about the trade deadline, you have to keep that in mind. It's really about adding a player that can elevate the overall team. But in terms of this pass rush being, going from anything 32 to anything above, like even in the 20s, like, if they get to 29, that'd be a miracle at this point in time.
Yeah, you know what? That'll be like a team just stop playing football. Like 5 or 6 teams just stop playing defense. They like, now we don't want none of our sackers to get to play this game, like because we want the Falcons to catch up because they just made a trade in the trade deadline. Like, come on,
where's Sam Howell when you need him to rack up 5 or 6 sacks in a game or whatever? But speaking of the trade deadline, let's talk about
Adrian
it.
Claiborne.
Yeah, where's Chaz Green when you need him? Cowboys. Hey, Need some offensive line help. Chaz Green's out there somewhere. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
bro, he lurking, dog. I know he be more than willing to get a check, bro. Like a 1 week check, shoot. But that's some
yeah.
people's salaries in a
So,
year. So
speaking of the trade deadline, let's talk about what options are available for the Falcons. And we can go as pie in the sky as we want, Jarvis, as we just broke down. Like there ain't no savers walking through that door. Jesus ain't walking on water, coming to Flowery Branch to save this pass rush. But let's talk about some potential trade options as we wrap up today's Locked On Falcons. Guys, get ready to tackle the NFL action this season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. And the FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can go and check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, all on the same page where you place your bets. And if you want to place your bets on this Sunday's matchup between the Falcons and Cowboys, the Falcons are now favored by 3 points. That line moved a little bit, probably due to the news that Micah Parsons will definitely not be suiting up on Sunday. And so to take advantage of this, just go to FanDuel.com to join today. And again, you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet over at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Let's wrap up here talking trade deadline. A lot of rumors these last couple of weeks about who's potentially on the move. It's funny, Jarvis. Like I've been telling people for weeks, like the Browns and the Raiders are not trading Myles Garrett and Max Crosby. The Raiders owner came out, Mark Davis, said we ain't trading no Max Crosby. Like what do you think? Y'all don't remember we traded Khalil Mack and that did not work out for us? Like why would we trade? And the funny thing about that, Jarvis, I just want to go on this tangent. Sure. How the Falcons are the worst pass rush, whatever amount of years that you look up, 3 years, 6 years, 28
15.
years. it doesn't matter.
20.
Who's 32? 32. The Falcons are always going to be 32.
Whatever barometer you want to use, sir. Go ahead.
They're going to be 32. But who's also 31 on all those lists? The Raiders, right? Like they have a Hall of Fame caliber pass rusher.
Yes.
Once upon a time, they let John Gruden come into that building and basically say, look, we have the worst pass rush with this elite player. Why are we going to pay him all this money? And then they traded that guy, got nothing out of it. And they watched this guy go on to be defensive player of the year. And like, this is the thing I always say.
Pro at 2 different positions in the same year. Yeah.
And like, these are human beings, people. Like people need to understand, like human beings have memories. Or like, no, we got burned by that trade. That did not help this football team win football games. We're not going to do that again. We're not going to do that again. So I just want to say that for all of the people out there that are like, oh, they could trade Max. Like, no, they're not. They're not going to trade it. Like, would you trade Max Crosby if you had that history and that legacy? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
How sorry we are. We could be garbage, which is the Raiders can fall into that category. I don't care how bad we are. You don't trade Hall of Fame, still in prime pass rushers, man. You just don't do that type of stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. That's why, like, I'm you know what? I'm still a little touched that the Falcons missed out on getting Khalil Mack, bro. I promise you, I was cussing. I don't cuss no more. You know what I'm saying? I have my moments every now and then, but I promise you, when the Raiders said, and the Raiders select Khalil Mack, oh, I lost it. I lost all of it. I lost my mind. But they still got Jake. Jake still, saying holding it down, baby. Steady Freddy, baby. You know what I'm saying? Call him Steady Freddy. That's what he is. But it just, my whole point is that elite pass rushers, man. When you find them, you pay them, and you never get rid of them until they can't rush no more. Look at Dwight Freeney's career. Look how long he played with the Colts. And then, teams were still the Falcons benefited from in 2016. They benefited from Dwight Freeney being on this squad, man. Like you just don't lose it, man. You don't lose it. It may be a little slower, but you don't lose that, man. That is a skill set that is you pay a premium for. And the idea of the Raiders saying, you know what? Oh man, let's see what these teams talking about. Oh yeah, we'll take a couple first round picks and do what with it?
What with it?
And do what with it? Look at
Yeah.
all the first round picks from the Raiders in the past 20 years. You talking about not sacking the quarterback. Shoot, when the last time the Raiders had a quarterback?
Yeah. And first round, I'm not
We
gonna get
found
in.
somebody, but we gonna trade away the dude that we found and hit on. Oh, you hit a home run on and
Fourth
try to
round pick.
figure out and try to do it again.
Yeah.
When look at our history. Look at the history.
And,
Oh yeah, man, I'm with you on that one, bro. Like anybody talking about Max Crosby, bro, stop,
yeah.
please.
Yeah. And the other thing I found interesting, they traded Khalil Mack in 2018, right? At a time they didn't know about this Patrick Mahomes guy, right? That was before Patrick Mahomes became Patrick Mahomes, right?
Oh,
People don't like Max Crosby's the only thing that's stopping Patrick Mahomes from dropping 500 yards on that Raiders defense every
exactly.
single
Yeah, that's
season,
it.
right?
That's it.
Doing to the Raiders what Kirk Cousins did to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I want to say that because again, it's understandable when you're a fan of one team, you don't really understand what's going on with the other team, but you just have to think about it like, what if the Falcons had a player like Max Crosby? Would I trade him? No, never. I would never do that. But all that to say, Jarvis, whether we want to talk about realistic options or those, pie in the sky options like a Max Crosby or whatever, what are you hoping the Falcons will accomplish this Tuesday at the trade deadline?
I hope that they have some sense. Because here's the thing, man. You can't continue put Band-Aid on this position. I've been crying, pleading, begging, dang near praying for this team to draft a high level. We had this conversation before we started this podcast. A high level pass rusher, a guy who has an elite traits when it comes to lining up, putting his hand in the dirt on third and long. And they haven't been able to do that. The guys that they drafted in the second round, got Arnie Abikati. He looked like he had a little promise this year. This dude just disappeared this year. It's just, where is he? He's 17 on the field. He started playing more because Lorenzo Carter got hurt. Really? Is that you can't beat out Lorenzo Carter for snaps? That's what you're telling me? So you're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul here. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to give out a scripture in a minute. You know what I'm saying? You're robbing Peter to pay Paul, man. Giving up future draft picks during the middle of the season, hoping for you hope you hit on a savior. It just doesn't work like that. But by no means am I saying not go out and go get for a guy, but I think you need to have some sense, have some common sense. Oh, we want a second round pick for Harold Landry. Okay, all right. Yeah, all these other teams are in on Harold Landry, and we're going to the highest bidder. Okay, cool. All right. Y'all have a good day.
Yes.
Zadarius Smith, I'm interested. He'll be under contract this year and next year. Like, are they willing to take a fourth round pick for him? Because shoot, that's about all you got on the day 3 picks, bro. they a little light, Jack. You got a 7th round pick, and that's not even yours. You got that from the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's it's slim pickings, man. So for me, Zadarius Smith makes sense. Azeez Ojulari kind of makes sense because reason why I say it kind of makes sense because he only has this is his last year, rookie deal. So, if he balls out and comes and gives you 8 sacks, you're gonna pay him $15-17 million a year after for 9 games. I don't know about that one. He might end up like Harold Landry, have to go to another team. What I'm saying? These are the type of things that you have to kind of keep in mind when you talk about these names. So for me, I feel like they need to have some sense. And if you can get a veteran guy that can come in here, we know how veterans have benefited the Falcons in the past, specifically on the defensive line when they brought in the right ones. I mentioned one earlier.
Yes,
I mentioned one earlier.
Yeah.
That one. Abe before that. So, that's a big gap.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about it from that aspect of it, I think that is that's what Terry Fontenot mindset needs to be, man. I mean, I understand feeling the need and trying to get things right, but don't sell your soul, man. Don't sell your soul.
Yes, I agree with you on all accounts, Jarvis, and I'm definitely looking forward to the offseason because after this season, if the Falcons don't take a pass rusher in the first round, I can't wait to see what your reaction is going to be. And the thing that I'm going to get more joy out of this offseason is when we do these shows in the lead up to the draft of just like, you know what? Maybe they should draft a wide receiver, and just to watch your face and your reaction. And it's funny because, like, you talk about the football party where we had Maria Martin on earlier today, and it's like you reap what you sow. And Maria made a great point, right? The Falcons' investments in their offense over the last couple of years, is paying off right now with this offense's performance. And then the lack of investments in their defense is also paying off or costing them money, I guess you could say, in terms of that. So it is one of those things where you definitely reap what you sow, and we'll see what the Falcons do when it comes to the trade deadline. And certainly I'm very much looking forward to what they do in this upcoming draft. But any parting thoughts, Jarvis, before we duck out of here?
One thing that just popped in my mind, if the Falcons don't draft a pass rusher, I have to do something.
I don't. That sounds ominous, Jarvis. It sounds like
I have to do something. I don't quite know what it is. We got some time. We got time. We got plenty of time for me to think about it.
All right,
but it has to be borderline.
Okay. Do I need to call the Department of Homeland Security, Jarvis? Are you about to be radicalized into a terrorist or something? I don't know. You gonna come up with a manifesto or something that I have to worry about?
Man, I need to bring a video to you because you the Falcons prophet. Shoot, you doggone said Bijan Robinson in week 12 when the Falcons were going nowhere. You're like, you know what, man? I'm about to start talking about this draft, dog. Like, man, they need to get Bijan Robinson. I need to bring you over here and start putting water droplets on your forehead, turn the lights off, and start putting showing Khalil Mack, doggone Reggie White, Warren Sapp, Aaron Donald. I just started throwing all type of pass rush cut-ups and just like, yes, and I need we need to get in the room together and start watching film.
Okay.
And we can do something for your insiders, man.
Okay.
Maybe that's what we do.
Okay.
Do something, get in the film room, start looking at some of these college prospects, and we say, these are the guys that the Falcons need to look at. And that's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll put something together.
Nothing negative, man. Nothing negative.
Yes, all positive.
Positive.
Right?
All positive.
Positivity. There you go. That's what we do here on Locked On Falcons podcast. Nothing but positivity.
Yes.
Can't even say it with a straight face. Okay. So there you go, guys. That's going to do it for us here. We will be back on Sunday. The Locked On Sports Atlanta Locked On Falcons postcast. Check it out. Check out the rest of the NFL and get you geared up for this weekend with Locked On NFL, 2 shows daily, getting you geared up what's going on with the other 31 NFL teams. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.